So cute.
Welcome to the dark side of NHL 95.
Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you may be in the WNHL 95 land. This is your host, Ultra Magnus. And this morning we have a dirty Shithawk online. He's straight out of Sunnyvale Trailer Park and somebody's tickling his belly. I'm not sure if it's Ed, but we have Coach MCline of the Sunnyvale Shithawks this morning.
Morning, guys. Morning.
How's everything going so far? I heard your podcast this morning was quite indulgent of PA. Yeah,
it was a little PA heavy.
definitely. PA heavy. when you have nipples and puss, when you have a lot of female body parts with Wolf and Klein, you're gonna have a little bit of a disturbing moment to occur eventually.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely.
So McCliner, you've been one of the original coaches of the W since season 1 when we kicked off.
Yep.
But tell us a little bit more about yourself, because I don't know how many people know about you or who you are.
I live outside Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I live on Highland Ave. I've been married 17, 18 years. I have 3 kids, one 19, one 14, one 13. The youngest is a daughter. Let's see what else. I run a cabinet shop. I've been doing that for 20 years. I can't believe I can say I've been doing something for 20 years. It's just fucking crazy.
Well, you could actually say that you've been doing 2 things for 20 years.
What do you mean?
You've been playing NHL 95 for 20 years.
Oh, yeah. But so NHL 95, really. So I'm like, I think I talked about this before. So it's like, NHL has always been, since it came out, it was always one of those games that we went and bought. Me and my brother, I have a younger brother, that we would buy every year. It was Madden, it was NHL, it was NBA Live. We always went out and got those certain sports games, but NHL was always my favorite up until probably, I guess, everybody got out of college, and then Madden and college football were really when we were going to the bar and stuff. We would play that before we went out. I think NHL fell off for us in like 02, 03. So I didn't start playing NHL again until like 2013 when my buddy pulled it out at his house. And then we just started playing, and I had the idea to start up the tournament, and my wife was very accepting to be able to allow me to have the tournament in our house, which puts her out of the house 2 times a year, at one day for 2 times a year. And that's tough. We've been doing that for 10 years. So my 13-year-old was 3 years old when she was having to take all my kids out of the house to allow us to get drunk and have a good time playing hockey.
So how many people, so in the 10 years of the High Avenue Invitational, how many people have been passed out drunk?
Passed out? So in the first 4 years, I would say, it was way more. Mark Duty, who is Ed's cousin from Canada, he's a Canadian. He fell asleep in the mid-game because he was so fucked up. I also think he was on something else, but he fell asleep mid-game. Usually by the time you get to the championship round playing, the guys who were eliminated early have been really drinking. So they're, sit back in the couch. They're almost passing out on the couch. So I wouldn't say we have many guys that are just passing out anywhere. Everybody holds their liquor real well. We've only had throw up, I think, twice that I know of. I'm not saying guys haven't done it that I didn't know of, but only 2 times that we are, was obviously like, whoa.
How many women have you ever had women at your
team? No. See, that's the thing about this day. So this day, the way I hold this day, and I'm serious, the guys who come to this, it's a big deal to them, because it's a day as a family guy and a guy who loves to spend time with his family. I don't get a lot of time away from my family. So this day is really for dudes, guys who have other responsibilities in life, who have other shit going on, to get together and be able to just be dudes, not have to worry about our wives, not have to worry about our kids, It's an all-day event. You tell your wife you're leaving at 8 in the morning and you're not coming home till midnight. And you're just coming to be with a bunch of dudes, and we don't have to worry about anybody. We don't have to worry about shit. And I try to hold that day as that. Nobody under the age of 21 is allowed to play. So as much as my 19-year-old wants to play, he's not playing until he's 21. Like it's about everyone else be able to check out for the day and just play video games. You know what I mean?
So you've been holding your 19-year-old son hostage from the WNHL 95 league.
Yeah. Yep.
Is there so I'm not saying the high invitational, I'm saying the league itself.
Oh, online? Yeah. Well, right now, dude, remember where you were at when you were 19. He's not worried about this. I mean, he got out of the video game heavy stuff probably 17 years old. So so right now he's probably not going to get back into video games for 3-4 years. He's got, he's worried about girls and shit like that. So this is not something he's
I worry about girls too, and Pamela and her 5 sisters have never complained, and my wife has never complained. So basically, and every time I have an opportunity, I go and I say, "Hey, listen, as much as you're going to scream, no one's going to hear you." And I'm talking about my hand. I'm not talking about anything else. So
of course.
But so your son is going to be eventually like primed to play in the league
at some point. Once he gets through school, he's going through college and stuff, so he's got to deal with that. So, but I fully expect, my kids, my younger son too, once they're eventually of age, if we're still doing it then. So, I mean, we've gone through death. We've had 3 different guys involved pass away. So we've had our share of shitty times, and we have our memorials for them. And but that's part of what this is, man. I might not see some of these guys only 2 times a year, but we're like brothers, man. When you get together and you spend that much time together, it's just a fucking great time.
Oh, definitely. And I think even online, we're starting to build that as well.
No doubt.
It's become pretty ridiculous when you think about it. And what are we at right now? August 13th. I think this is when we started kicking off season 1. So
it's been about a year. So you're saying it's like a year.
It's been a year. And the fact that, like, I would say we're still like probably around 24, 23 guys from the original season.
Yeah, that's amazing.
It's pretty crazy to think. I think some of the Segathon guys are the ones that I'd be the most worried about falling off. Like we already lost one with Chris, Sammy Smith. But his situation was a little bit more unique. He came to me before even the Segathon guys, and he said, like, listen, I got a job opportunity, like closer home, more time with my family, more money. I need to focus on this for now. I said, hey, don't worry about it. You can come back when you're ready. He's just like, but exactly. It will probably be like next and like in the spring. So I'm like, we'll take a couple seasons off for the kind of thing. So
I don't think you get upset at people leaving, man. People's lives adjust. So I don't get upset at people leaving, but I just want people that are here want to actually be here. It's not just like a subset. It's not just something they have on their phone. It's not just something, I play in this NHL league, but I only show up once a month. You know what I mean? That's not what this is. This is, like I said, I've always pushed for people to partake in as much as possible. Listen to the different podcasts, get involved in the Discord. The more we get to know each other, the better it is, man. I mean, all the guys that I've actually had conversations on here are fucking great guys. So, I mean, I don't know, man. I think this just offers so much more than just playing the game, even though that's mostly why we're here is for the game. But
like obviously we're here for the game, but I think at the same time too is that we all hold this game in a higher regard than we do in most other games. And also the fact is that it's a lot of it like hitting home on the childhood part of our lives and or teenage lives, whatever you want to do it. There was always a point where the NHL 95 always reminisced with one of us at some point in our life.
Yes. Correct.
And the big thing is that I think now that we have the league, we have 34 people in the league that all, I would say the 94 guys are a little impartial because they're not fully like on board like the 95 guys. But the funny thing is I've had some conversations with some of the 94 guys and they're like, hey, you know what? I'm almost at the point with the 94 league where I don't even want to play anymore. I'd rather play the 95 league, which makes me feel good. Like Matty.
Well, yeah, it should.
So
most of those, dude, I've talked to those guys too. A lot of the 95-4 guys are really nice guys too. They've just been doing it. They've been doing it differently for a while, so it's just different.
Well, you can just imagine playing NHL 95, the OG ROM for 15 seasons, 15 years, with no changes. It gets boring after a while. Like, I wouldn't say boring, but I would say there's only so much you can do mentally and constructing around the game to make it different every season.
Yeah.
And I think they've limited themselves. Now they're starting to have other leagues where they're kind of branching off because of mods. But with our league is that, like, even I talked to Halifax on our last podcast. He says, listen, he says, the 95 guys, you guys are fucking like spoiled, because when the 94 thing, they had nothing and they still kind of have nothing, or they at least don't have anybody who wants to run the league.
Gotcha.
So like for me wanting to run a dynasty league and actually following through with it, he says they did it for a couple times and it lasted no more than 2 or 3 seasons.
Yeah. Well, then there you go. Major credit to you.
Well, major credit to everybody else in the league as well, playing their games.
Yeah. Well,
but we're not going to but we're not going to sit here and blow each other about what we've accomplished so far. But let's get into some questions, because I think a lot of people are more curious about what tinkers in the mind of MCline.
Okay.
Especially when it comes to Shithawks, trading the farm for players, picking up, and I don't even know how sometimes you like fleece some of these guys in the league for trades, but some of the things have been changing. But what is one of your favorite NHL 95 stories in the league or off league?
Mm-hmm. Well, in the league, one of my favorite stories always to tell is Nipples choking against Sean Bell. I mean, that's a historic moment and something we all should always remind him of. So that's like in league, that's one of my favorite stories. Also in league too, if it wasn't for this league, I wouldn't have the story of Hines. So anybody who's been here from the beginning and has the whole story of Hines is blessed because it's an amazing story and nobody ever believes it when you tell them, you know what I mean?
Well, and the funny thing is about it too, is I was at the forefront of it all. And for not only the fact that like I found out about what had happened, and then I found out like the actual backstories on a lot of the aspects of the story, people are just like, well, what the fuck happened? So basically the thing that ended up happening, the guy stretched himself in, owed money in the 94 league for like $20, which Canadian money to an American, that's probably like a couple of quarters.
Okay.
Or some Monopoly money or a food stamp or something like that. But basically the other thing that happened is that he was running these like sim leagues on the side. He joined 95. The one thing I have to give to the kid is an amazing commentator. Like before before Moses came rolling around.
Yeah, dude, he's good.
Cat's meow. But Aftershock would have been on there as well. But Aftershock is between fucking your mother and suck my nuts and derogatory towards your family. That was basically like the Howard Stern of our league. But it just basically ended up happening. The guy faked his own death. He actually was in cahoots with Mike Vick, and Mike Vick knew about it, that he was going to do this, but Mike Vick didn't know the extent that he was going to do it.
Oh my God.
And he actually followed through with it. And then some of the text messages were sent, because I had Hines' cell phone number. And I texted the guy a few times, and then I started getting texts. Oh, this is his sister. Oh, he's dead. He got hit by a red truck across the street from a funeral home. I'm like, ironic. And a whole bunch of things of the story just fucking like started unraveling everywhere. So basically he faked his death so that he wouldn't have to be involved with any of the other things that he was already involved. And like clean slate, change your Discord name. I'm somebody else. So I think we have some catfish in our league, or not. We're in our league that are catfishing us now, you know, on Twitch, coming out of nowhere, and we're like, who the fuck is this guy? But yeah, I think that story is it's a masterpiece, and all I can say, fuck you, Hines. So, or whatever your name is now these days, it could be Red Truck of Death, which is one of our divisions. So. Who knows?
We've honored him. We've honored the moment. So.
Yeah, we've definitely honored the moment. So what would be one of your worst experiences in 95, personally or in the league?
Personally, well, I mean, whenever NHL 95 comes up, so I have a brother who's 2 years younger than me, and like I said, we used to buy this game all the time. And in 92, 93, 94, when I played, I was Detroit fan. I love Detroit. Like Detroit was a big time, one of my favorite teams, and he was always Calgary. He always played as Calgary, and one time he just hauled off and punched me right in the face and gave me a bloody nose. And I remember just being like in shock that my little brother just punched me over a video game. And I went and I told my mom. I was probably like, I don't know. So in 93, I would have been 13, 14. And my mom was like, oh, well. She didn't give a shit. So I dealt with a bloody nose.
Use the user manual to stop the bleeding.
Yeah, I just dealt with the bloody nose. So that's my. I've been given a bloody nose over NHL 95. So
I've been slapped upside of the head a few times. Somebody threatened to cut my balls off. And I think the raciest one is the person says, if I knew where you lived, I would come and kill you.
Oh, geez, Louise, man.
And then followed by a smiley face. So there's kind of those situations where you're thinking like, okay, is this guy serious or is he just jokingly aside? Also known as something that you never want to experience because there is a bunch of psychotics out there. So
yeah, like I've seen controllers get thrown. I mean, people get up and storm out. Trust me, I've seen all kinds of stuff. But the physical stuff, yeah, I mean, most times people don't touch anybody. You know what I mean?
No. So, given with that, we're seeing that we're now in season 5. A lot of things have happened in that time frame for the last year, which you would think a year, whatever. It's not that long in the hindsight. But when you think about it for 5 seasons, or at least 4.25 seasons, what are some of the things that you've noticed from season 1 to season 5 that has really changed the way the league takes on new people, the way it takes advantage of recent players, or how the top caliber players kind of adjust? I know it's like a 3-pronged question in a way.
Well, so basically what I've seen change, I mean, the top players are the top players, but what I've seen change is that all the middling play, everybody's adjusting. Everybody's like an amoeba right now. So everybody's trying to figure out. I think we all are familiar with each other's styles at this point, the people that have been in the league. So it's everybody. I think if you're not approaching it that way, like that's what I know with the top guys. They're approaching each game. They know how to dissect. They know what they're trying to accomplish. So I think everybody else is trying to be the same way. Is trying to figure out what they're actually trying to accomplish with their team. I don't think you can just fly by the seat of your pants like Sammy was doing, because I don't think you'll get too far. I think you actually really need to approach it in a better way. What was the rest of that part of that question?
I'll follow back up to piggyback onto that. I honestly don't even think of a game plan in my game. I'm like, okay, I'm playing MCline to stop the cross crease. That's all I think of.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm not going any more in depth, being like, okay, I'm gonna make sure I draw past. I honestly should start drawing up my game plans, because honestly, I feel like I'm like Mike Shanahan without a 15 play approach for the 15 first plays. Mm-hmm. And I don't even have a fucking backup plan if shit hits the fan. And when I played Colin last night, I think the first 2 periods of both games was 0-0. So shows you what the fuck he did in the later of the games. And we talked for about a half hour, 45 minutes after we played. And I told him, I said, listen, like, I think I'm a top 10 player when I'm on. When I'm off, I'm like bottom 10.
Yeah.
My mindset is completely out of the toilet. And the bad thing is that I'm the type of person, I leave my Discord on my phone, but all my sounds are going. And all I hear is like jingle bells by all the Discord bings.
Yeah, you gotta turn all that shit off.
I know, but I'm the type of person that's just like, oh, is there something else that needs to be taken care of?
Yeah, you don't want anything to get left behind.
No, so the bad thing is that that's kind of a distraction. Then I have my dog who comes up next to me and just like, ooh, I'm like, fuck off, I'm trying to focus here. And then my wife starts running her mouth, and but she knows I'm playing, but then she'll ask me questions while I'm playing. I'm like, I'm in the middle of something. So it seems like I have enough distractions. I honestly feel like if I had to admit myself to a psych ward just so I can play NHL 95, I think I might just have to do that.
Yeah, I mean that's Paul. I think that's a lot of guys have a problem with trying to find a quiet place. I definitely don't have a quiet place in my house right now. So hopefully when we move, I'm gonna have a room dedicated to doing a podcast and being able to play some NHL 95 without interruption.
Well, put it this way: I live in a 1-bedroom apartment with my wife and my 2 pets.
Yeah,
I live in Toronto, where we're paying like $1,900 a month for rent.
Wow. Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Good luck buying a house anywhere in Toronto. To get the same size apartment or condo in Toronto, it's like $1.6 million.
Wow. Wow. How long have you guys been there?
Just about 6 years.
Okay. All right.
Luckily, we got rent control.
Yeah, well, that's a good thing.
It is. So we're going to hit up into our rapid fire questioning. However, we're going to probably run out of time before the Google thing ends.
Mm-hmm.
You and I can just talk normally right now because I'm kind of wondering, do I have enough time to move into the next thing or not?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, did it come up instead of the 10 minutes?
Not yet.
Yeah. So you're fine. I would just keep going until you're fine. Because like I said, even after the 10 minutes comes up, you're still going to get another warning. So.
Okay, perfect. So we're going to start rapid fire. These are going to be really quick questions, or you can dive in like Halifax, Nips, and Nate. Well, I think Nate not so much, but Halifax and Nips definitely fucking went a little deeper, and it started becoming more of a discussion than an actually rapid fire.
Yeah.
But I do have a section where it's literally rapid fire. But it's more of a Q&A with some rapid fire involved. So
okay.
Something that you always like to think that it's funny no matter what.
Trailer Park Boys.
Okay. I would have always said it's something like people getting hurt.
But falling down. Yeah, like I can watch that shit all the time. But yeah. I mean, I know if I see Ricky and Bubbles on the TV screen, I can just laugh my ass off no matter what.
So you knowing that, then you're probably a huge Trailer Park Boys fan.
Mm-hmm.
So quick Q&A on it. How many other spin-offs are there of the Trailer Park Boys?
TV show wise? Well, yeah. I have that SwearNet thing that they have.
Okay.
So I listen to their podcasts. I've seen the jail episodes. Like I'm pretty deep. I've watched all the movies. Yeah,
I watched the cartoon.
Yeah, I watched. Well, I think I watched the first half of that season. I didn't get through the whole thing of the cartoon. I just enjoy being in Sunnyvale. Like that's still the best part when they're actually in Sunnyvale. The prison episodes are pretty funny if you haven't seen them. But there's nothing like without Jim being there, man. It's a big difference. All those guys are so funny, but Jim is such a huge presence to not be around. So
it does take a lot of wind out of the sails. And I think that after I think like Halifax alluded to it as well, especially him working on the show from season 1 and season 5 through 8.
Mm-hmm.
I really do think the show should have shut it down like after season 8. Season 9 was starting to get like, okay, you guys are really like just regurgitating some of the stuff, but they went all the way up to 12. Then they did all the movie specials. They did the TV show spinoff for the jail. Then they did the cartoon. I really like how they tied in the end of season 12 to the cartoon.
Yes, I thought that was phenomenal. That's why I went into the cartoon. I was expecting it to be really good, but I just didn't. I only got halfway through, like I said. But even I even watched the ones where they're traveling on the bus.
Around the world. There's the one where those things are pretty good.
Yeah, so I'm a pretty big fan. I enjoy a lot of their stuff. Like I think it was, I can't remember who said it. Maybe it was Halifax was saying it, or somebody brought up that fact that they were watching Letterkenny, and so I was the same thing. I was fucking dying with Letterkenny, and I knew about Trailer Park Boys from my son because my son kept saying, "Dad, you got to watch Trailer Park Boys." So I kept ignoring him because I never wanted to listen to him. And then all of a sudden, Pizzle was like, "Yeah, let's watch Trailer Park Boys." And that overtook Letterkenny. And I was just like, it's because I thought Letterkenny was hilarious, but it's a totally different kind of humor. It's way smarter humor. You got to really actually listen. But actually with Trailer Park Boys, you really got to listen to everything that's said too, because everything will make you laugh. Everything.
Oh, yeah. And like the funny thing is that the reason why I love the show so much, Bubbles is such an even head. As much as that he might seem like a bit of a fucking weirdo at times. Then you got Julian, who's and it's not even based on his physical presence. It's more on his mental presence. Is that he's trying to punch above his mental state.
Always.
And the thing is, he can't. He's like, I got this. We're going to retire. We're going to do this. Freedom 45, blah, 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 blah. Nothing ever works his way. And I love the best. I just watched it recently, season 5, when he's coming out of prison, and he takes the nature books. He says, everything I read here in prison, I take and I apply to my life. Like this grizzly bear and that fish in his fucking mouth. I'm like the fish trying to avoid fuckers like this. So every time I hear that, I'm just like, but you're not going to do it. The only one he kind of really stuck with it is when he talked about reverse psychology, and it worked on it worked for a while. But then Ricky, you don't know what the fuck. It's honestly like you go to the craps table, you're literally throwing a handful of crap and you don't know what number it's going to land on, and whatever that number is actually what Ricky's going to say.
Oh, every time he's on the screen, it's just joy. Again, it just makes me smile, man. It's one of the, with so much shit going on, and you just want to be able to just smile. It just makes me smile.
So another show, I'm not sure if you've watched it yet. Check it out.
Okay. No, that's the show. Check it out.
Check it out. It's on YouTube. The episodes are only about like 10 minutes long, and it's basically Dr. Steve Brule.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I was just saying, I've never seen much of Brule.
So go on YouTube, look at it, check it out. It's a 10-minute like closed circuit local TV show. When you watch it and you see these effects happening, don't worry, it's a part of the whole thing.
Okay.
But it's literally like you have to watch it. It's fucking hilarious, and he was somewhat of the inspiration of the league.
Is that a Canadian show?
No.
Okay.
It was just YouTube. Riley, I don't think he's Canadian.
Okay.
I don't think. Okay, next question. Funniest sounding word that is not funny.
Funniest sounding word.
That's not funny.
Jesus Christ. I don't even know. I don't know how
So G and Nips both said moist.
Of course, everybody says moist.
I said kumquat.
Yeah, that's a good one.
But then there's other ones out there as well. But a lot of people, you have to kind of, okay, so we got the 10-minute thing that just popped up.
Okay.
But whatever you want to kind of think of that would be funny. And even if it's like, I don't know, like even bunny for fucking.
Any word, Uranus.
Not only is it a planet and your asshole, it's actually a.
I mean, come on. How can anybody even not laugh when you say Uranus? It's just like, it's not meant to be funny.
No, but that's a pretty fucking good one.
Right? It's funny. You can't help.
Oh my God, I'm gonna have to start putting that quote of the day, Uranus. See how funny that runs off of. If you could be, I have to reread this. If you could now go back and play a sport in the professional world, which sport would you go and play?
In the professional world?
Yeah. So if there was a sport right now that you wanted to say, I want to go and play this and be a professional.
Well, I mean, I'm a huge hockey and football fan, of course, but I don't know if there are ones I would want to go play. I mean, I love them. I played football my whole life, but I don't know. I'm a huge pro wrestling fan, so I would love to be a pro wrestler. I think that would be fucking fun as shit. I think that would be funny.
What would be your wrestling name?
Oh, geez. Now we're getting all kinds of weird.
Well, that's why it's the dark side. You have to get a little funny.
Yeah, I mean, wrestling's weird to begin with. It would just depend on, what I was trying to go for. So I don't know. I never thought of an actual name. Because anymore they just go by their names. You know what I mean? It's not like they come up with.
I actually got a good one. And I've had this one my whole life, Sirloin.
Sirloin, that's a good one.
Yeah,
that's a good one.
You can go as a knight, you can go as a porn star, you can go whatever you want. That would be my porn star name would be Sirloin. It's all a play on meat.
Yeah, it's a good one. It's a good one.
So next one.
Go ahead.
You wouldn't have a wrestling name that you could think of?
Not off the top of my head. No, I don't think so. Okay. I don't think so.
I think that one might be another one. If you were a wrestler, who would you be?
Yeah, that's a good. Who would you be? That's different. Who would I be?
Okay, who would you be?
It's kind of hard. If I was a wrestler,
yeah,
that's a good question. Because if I was a wrestler, I'd be Triple H.
You'd be Triple H.
Because I'm kid. Yeah, what's that?
The 1, 2, 3 kid.
Oh, okay.
Him or Razor Ramon.
He's a shitty wrestler, but go ahead. You want to be
a shitty wrestler, but I'm a shitty NHL 95 player. What the fuck?
Oh, stop.
But if I had to choose another one and I was actually being like legit about it, Razor Ramon.
Okay. And why? Why is that?
I don't know. Just look greasy.
Nice.
If that's the best way to sum it up, I think that would be the best way to do it.
Good answer.
And like the thing is, I was saying, like, if you had to create your own wrestling name, what would be your finishing move? I always love the crab. Put the person in the fucking like.
Yeah. Those where you make them tap out. You're doing some kind of submission.
Yeah, you're basically you cross his legs between yours or around your leg, and then you fucking just pin him back. That one was fabulous. But if the person's got upper body strength, like he's like the, I don't know, Batista, there's no way in hell you're gonna pull that off. He'll just do a fucking push up and flick you off.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah,
especially if I was the 1-2-3 kid, he'd fucking throw me around like a gnat.
definitely.
So do you have a weapon of choice?
Sledgehammer.
Sledgehammer.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
That's why I said Triple H. Yeah, I love Sledgehammer.
Oh fuck. I don't know. Mine would be actually like a hockey stick, but would it have like a saw blade on the end of it?
Oh, nice.
So
yeah, that would be. That's like a sickle. It's basically like a sickle, right?
Yeah, kind of. Like because I play Last Day on Earth, and they have one in there. And it's a fucking
shit.
It's basically a hockey stick almost, but it's got a spinning blade on the end.
Oh wow.
So
that sounds bloody as hell, man. Is that a video game you're talking about?
Yeah, it's just an app on the phone.
Oh, okay.
Last Day on Earth. It's basically like you're like building a base and protecting yourself, but you have to go get resources.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Okay, so this is my fill in the blank, and I kind of fucking screwed up hugely with Halifax. I stumbled on my words, couldn't come up with anything, unprepared, just basically like as if I tried to put a Jimmy hat on and it was full of holes. And I'm like, I don't have a backup. I'm going to have to use this one. But I was a little bit more prepared. I went out and got a Magnum, and I think this one's a pretty good one. So fill in the blanks. MCline has a blank time for doing blank when he has nothing else blank.
MCline has a blank time. MCline has a good time.
Okay.
Whenever he's trying to what? What was it again? Whenever
MCline has a good time for doing blank when
for doing NHL 95 when he's high.
Oh, that's pretty good. I actually like that one. If I'm not using the electric lettuce or the sticky icky, I need to be able to do something else other than playing NHL 95.
Yeah. Okay. I'm primed when I'm like that. That's
to be honest. I'm not a big drinker to start off with, but like once I started playing NHL 95, I think I started going back to my college days, and everybody in the league, or at least the people that know me well enough, know that I drink tequila.
Mm-hmm.
And for me to be able to drink tequila, I have one glass. It's filled to the brim with whiskey stones, because at least it keeps it cold, and I drink it straight. I don't add anything. Since I've joined the league, I've gone through 5 bottles.
Holy shit!
So I go through about a bottle a season, and
that's pretty good, man.
Yeah, so I get pretty fucking lit when I'm playing, and you can tell the difference. Against LHX, I was drinking my tequila in the playoffs last season. So I think I'm onto something. I have to be drinking while playing.
Well, there you go. It's a little dangerous, but there you go.
Well, it's just like the High Invitational, Segathon, or the Waterloo tournament. You must be drinking to be able to play this game, or it's a necessary requirement to actually play the game. You need to drink.
Yeah, you gotta have a beer in your hand. Yeah, exactly.
Sounds good. Do you have a guilty pleasure?
Do I have a guilty pleasure?
And that's not talking about your hand being down your pants while you're on the bus, or like you're at work and scratching your crack.
You just mean something that occupies my time other than family, work, and shit like that. Is that what you mean?
Pretty much.
Not NHL. So I have bonsai trees I take care of, a couple of them that I take care of, just stuff that takes my time. I am actually, of course, for what I do, I work with my hands, but my kids are pretty arts and crafty, so I have no problem with doing stuff like that. We like to do different drawings or coloring or things like that. I don't, as long as I don't have to be staring at a screen. The least amount of time that I'm staring at a screen is probably the best for me anyway. So I like to do stuff like that with stuff that involves my hands.
Oh,
so
I'm in the same boat. My dad owns an auto body shop, and he put me to work when I was 12. And
okay,
I had worked with him for like 20 years before, even when I moved out, I was still working with him. Then I basically stopped, but like ever since then, I work with my hands. Like people say, "Oh, you sell caskets?" Yeah, I gotta go fix some. I gotta help put bodies in them. Whole bunch of shit. So yeah, they called me probably the Grim Reaper now. So
yeah, there's a good nickname for you. I see you coming. Probably not a good thing when you see you pulling up, right?
Well, the funny thing is that I think the Grim Reaper is a pretty good name, but everybody in the industry calls me the Angel of Death, because every time I come around, people die.
Oh, okay. All right. So are you making sales to funeral homes?
Yes.
Is that what you do? Okay, so then the funeral home buys a certain allotment of a style from you. Is that what it is?
That's correct.
Okay, and then they sell that style. Gotcha. So you're the supplier to the funeral homes. Gotcha.
You're bang on.
Gotcha. Okay.
All right. So, okay. What would be your biggest pet peeve?
Oh, my biggest pet peeve is people on their phones in their cars. I can't stand it because I can tell immediately when somebody in front of me is on their phone in their car because they're not paying attention. They slow down. Like the way I take home is 2 lanes. So if somebody in front of you that's like 20 minutes of my ride home. So it just drives me crazy when I see the person in front of me on their phone not paying attention to driving. Especially nowadays when you can do hands free and you know what I mean?
Like literally when you got cars now that basically drive themselves.
Yeah.
You can have your phone Bluetooth. You can have one hand on the wheel if you want and one between your legs.
Exactly.
You can have fun while driving now, but if you got, honestly, I'm probably the same boat too. So like, just put your fucking phone down. You're not that important, and whatever you're doing at the moment is not important either.
Yeah,
exactly. And those are the people that are the ones that survive the car accidents.
Yeah, exactly, and that just annoys the shit out of me.
Yeah, I just pisses the fuck out of me. So this is probably becoming one of my favorite questions to ask. What is your favorite W logo?
My favorite W. I mean, I know you guys have mentioned Taipei, and I love that green color for his logo, and it's just very different. Collins, the Saturday Nights is just very original. Did you play a part in that, or did he find that himself?
Well, I basically created most of it. He gave me the pieces to work with.
Okay.
And I just basically kind of like created it for him, and he's like, "No, that's exactly what I want." And then his logo, his jerseys, I was just like, "Well, I gotta fucking put something together for him." So his colors were kind of a play on the my Yukata loggers from the Q.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Colors are similar. And then you haven't played him yet, so you would have to look at his center ice.
Yeah, I'm very interested to see because I've heard you mention this before.
Yes.
Yeah. So other logo wise, I'm trying to think. Like I think we talked about this on WNC. I actually like the Oracles. I think I like that name a lot. I think the logo is okay, but I think you could find a better purple wizard somewhere. But I don't. That doesn't offend me. I actually don't mind it.
I don't mind it either. And Puss had said it. He says, it warms up to you, that little fucking Oracle, and he's got his little tiny magic wand with him too. But the funny thing is that I tried to convince Blair to change his logo, and I sent him an image, and it looked pretty fucking rocking too. For a different looking Oracle, it was more of a wizardry one. It looked a little bit better, had facial expression to it. This one here looks like a kid drew it after his mom had left for the weekend.
Yeah. I mean, this one fits because it looks like an 8-bit wizard, so I got no problem with it. But it could be cooler. It could be cooler.
It could definitely be. But I would have to say, if I had to give it like a top 3, Nate's would definitely be there with Taipei Typhoon. Yours would be there with Jim Leahy. I think everyone knows that. It's just when you were considering moving the team after season 1, and everyone's like, save the Shithawks.
Everybody got upset. Yeah.
Everybody got upset. And it's you kind of have like kind of a personal investment in it. You're just like, fuck, do I really want to move the team? But luckily, like for my team, when I moved it, all I changed was the cities.
Yeah. You didn't change your logo. Your logo is sweet too. And I really like your colors because you're I'm a big blue fan, and I like the shade of blue that you have mixed with the gray. It's very nice. Yeah, it's very nice.
Yeah. So then I wouldn't put myself. I wouldn't even be a top 10 logo in the league, but I honestly think Nate's, yours, G-Locks is fucking right up there. His new one with like the little dash,
the avalanche logo with the plane. Yeah.
So he's got that, and there's so many good logos in the league. It's becoming more and more. Even like it might sound plain and dumb. I actually like LHX's logo with the Renfrew Creamery.
Oh yeah, well I mean they all have meaning. I agree with you guys. I don't understand Maddie's, so maybe Matt needs to explain what that is, what his logo is. But to me, it just looks like some kind of I don't know, some kind of tattoo a chick would get on her lower back or something. You know what I mean? It just doesn't.
Or like a guy would get it on the back of his calf.
Yeah, or like Batista's belly button, right? Doesn't he have something like that around his belly button?
Oh, anytime somebody talks about belly buttons and like pubical areas, I always say you just need to get a little lawnmower man right above your fucking pubic line.
Yeah, that's actually a good one. I like that.
Or you get or you get the map of Canada on your ass, and when you sit down, Quebec separates every time. Either way, it works. Okay, if you could add one player to your current Shithawks roster, who would it be in anyone in the league?
Anyone in the league?
Yeah. You only can put one, and you would have
Only
to take somebody out
one.
of your roster, your current roster.
Oh, well, I would take Forsberg.
You would take Forsberg.
Mm-hmm.
Adding
And
Forsberg, Sakic, and Yzerman, holy donkey.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I would be aiming for. So
I honestly think for my team, my forwards are set. My goaltenders are set. I got Pronger. I regret trading Lindstrom.
yeah, I mean, he's a stud.
He's going to be a stud. He's
Yeah.
The next season's where Detroit was taking over in the late 90s, early 2000s with fucking the Red Storm. And yeah. I baffle myself. There's trades I look back on and I think, okay, did I do smart in this trade or did I do dumb?
Yeah, but like we said, you kind of ended up in the same spot. So you still had a ton of fun and you end up in the same spot.
I tell this to everybody I do the trades with. I'm like, I don't like suddenly idly buy. I do not.
Yeah.
And at the same time, too, is that it gets to a point where you're like, okay, you only got 12 players on your roster. There's only so much trading you could do to improve it. If anything, you're going to eventually weaken it. But I think for myself, like I really wish I had taken back that Dominic Hasek trade because I kicked myself on it. But at the same time,
I can't believe you had Hasek.
I had Hasek, I had Lindstrom, I had Solani, and I think back now too, I had Amante, I had Ron Francis, I had Keith Primo. You look at all the players that are leading the league. I am the Montreal Canadiens of the late 90s, early 2000s. Any player who left my roster becomes a fucking superstar, and I'm fucking struggling to keep my head above water.
Well, they weren't total superstars yet, right? Because you would have had to wait a little bit on the guys.
No, Hasek really didn't have to. Schneider was still pretty good. Lindstrom was a couple of years out. Primo was 4 or 5 seasons out, but he's reaping benefits in Sonoma Valley right now.
Yeah, he is. He definitely is.
Who else is fucking Iggy? The whole thing with Iginla, I think there was the stigma around it where he was such a great player coming out his rookie season. And when I acquired him, I'm like, I could do this. I'm going to have a good team and I'm going to make it work. And then when I started, it was Bertuzzi. And I was like, because I didn't get Iginla. So then I was like, okay, I'll take Bertuzzi. I'll see what I can do. And then when Blair approached me, he says, I want Bertuzzi. I'm like, I want Iginla. He's like, okay, let's figure something out here. And then that worked. The Iginla fucking project ruined me right away. And then Matty A told me, he says, know what? I really play really well with Iginla. Was it Iginla I traded him?
Yeah, I think that's who you traded him, yeah.
So Matty A's team's going to be good. But at the same time, too, is that I do feel for some of the expansion teams where they kind of got hosed. And I think this season is probably the one exception of all the seasons we've done so far, where the expansion teams actually have a true chance of competing, even though they're only playing within their division.
Yes. Oh, I agree. Expansion teams got to understand there's going to be some growing pains. You have to be able to handle growing pains. Everybody, I mean, at every point, everybody at some point has to deal with some growing pains. Now, it might not be as harsh growing pains for somebody like Sean or Colin, but they're still going to have down years. And I'm not saying that doesn't mean they're going to win, but they're, you know what I mean? They're not going to win. They're everybody is going to have a slump because all players go through slumps. It's just what it is.
Oh, definitely. And the big thing is too, is that like, I know that you guys talk about a lot of your top 10 coaches, your top 10 strategies, top 10 teams. I love that component. The one thing I could suggest to you guys, maybe talk about like the worst teams and how they can improve on their teams.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
because I think that would be a good way for guys to like. I know we talk about it, and it's the same thing every season. Like the top teams are always going to get the love, but then there's guys like where you're like a Nui or an Elias or even Gamby this year. Like things where guys are putting themselves into a good position is because they've built their team the way they are, and now they're actually finally getting the benefit out of it.
Yeah. Yes, I agree.
Just something to allude to, because I honestly think Sutton's probably a year away. Nui's probably a season away. Once LeCavier hits up, he's gonna fucking start taking over. Tickness, the same thing. There's just like there's so many coaches out there, and like and I know for you guys it's really hard for 34 teams to be discussed, and we've had that conversation before too. when you have a conversation of 34 teams and you have to like review them all, you're talking like 3 or 4 hours.
Oh yeah. Well, that's why we broke the predictions up. The shitty bill we did last with LHX, and then we did. I mean, I think they all got some love in the shitty bill episode, but also this is what I talk about partaking in the league, because it's a lot easier for us to talk about teams that are involved and give us input back, and are not guys that just show up and play their games and disappear. Well, then there's no way for us to even know what you're into, and then I don't really want to talk about people that aren't interested in being a. If I know you're not going to even listen to the podcast, you're not partaking, I don't want to waste my time with you. But some of these guys, I think they can just get a little more involved, and that helps us get to know them more. You know what I mean? That's all we're looking for. And with the podcast, I like talking about people that give their time to me, and that's why when we had Nips and Puss on, I've talked to those two as much, if not more, than I've talked to you. Yeah. So, I mean, the guys that are willing to give it, I'm willing to listen to their thoughts on anything, because I feel like we're buds and we can sit around and talk about anything.
Oh yeah, it's the same thing. Like the way you are with Puss and Nips is kind of like how I am with Segathon and the Halifax.
Mm-hmm.
Because me and Halifax, because now we're doing the whole Dark Side of 95 tournament in Toronto, like me and him have talked until our faces have turned blue over the last like couple months, because like we're coordinating it together with another guy out of Ottawa. But it's like you find out so many things about a person that you're just like, man, like I never met the Segathon guys, but I honestly felt like they were like high school buddies that I haven't seen in a couple of years. And when you see them, you're like, yeah, you're like, I feel it. And they're like, yeah, we felt it too. But it's the same thing whenever, like once I meet you and Ed, it's gonna be the same fucking thing. And I know that it'd be like, I already told my wife, I said, I'm going down to a high tournament eventually. She says, well, go. Fuck, I don't care.
She's kicking you out.
Well, no, she doesn't kick me out. She's more or less my wife. The way I look at it, we met online. We've been married for 10 years. We don't have kids, but we love pets. But like we've tried having kids and it didn't work.
Okay.
But the big thing is that like we each have our own hobbies. We have our own interests, but we also have interests together that's very close to each other. But she's like, you want to play video games and go fucking to life tournaments? Go fucking have at her. So I let her go and do her horseback riding like trip in Alberta for like a week and a half.
Exactly.
Go ahead and do it. That's something you want to do. I won't do it. So it's kind of like, and I think that's a benefit for us that we've had that advantage. But at least for you now knowing, like, you got a bunch of guys that you can just hang out with, talk with, or even reach out to. Like you and I have had conversations offline. Like some of them have been heated, but for good reason.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, man.
So
definitely.
But so you would add Forsberg. I would want Lindstrom back.
Yeah, that's a good answer.
Sexiest accent.
French.
Just
easy.
Parler en français avec moi ce soir?
Yes, exactly.
I grew up in Quebec, so I'm fully bilingual.
Yeah,
but not a guy talking to you in French. You want a woman talking.
No, a woman. Yeah, a woman. Yeah. And not a Canadian woman. I want a French woman.
You want a woman from France.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. You want the one to talk to you with the uppity attitude.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I want.
That's fine. Favorite beer, and I know this is probably a closer one to you.
Favorite beer?
Yeah.
Okay. So, favorite would be Founders.
Give me your top three.
Well, so I can do it this way. If I'm a stout drinker most of the year, so except of course not in the summer. So if I'm going to buy stout, I'm going for Founders breakfast stout, oatmeal breakfast stout with the baby on the label. That's my favorite. That's right in my range, is like 7.6, 8.3. Typically my beers are between 7% and 9% is where I'm drinking.
You drink babies?
What's that? Yeah, I drink babies.
Babies?
Yeah, I drink babies. As summer-wise, Cape May Brewing has come all hard on the scene in the last 2-3 years, and everything they put out, I drink. So all summer, spring, I'm drinking anything from Cape May.
So are they a local brewery in the PA?
Well, Cape May is it's southern New Jersey. It's like the southernest tip of New Jersey. So that's where the brewery's at. So when we go down the shore, you can get huge type of selection. But there's stuff up here I can get a huge selection when I go down the shore. But yeah, I just love it. They have all kinds of shit. They have all kinds of stuff. They're double IPAs. They just go on their website and look. They have a lot of good selection.
Yeah, and that's something like I was a huge beer drinker when I was in my college and university days. Like I used to be able to drink a 2-4 and still feel pretty good. But
Mm-hmm.
it's gotten to the point where I've gone away from beer, but now I'm like, I want beer because I feel bloated, and then I can go have my beer shits in the morning. But
that's why you got to move
those...
away from the IPAs. The IPAs give you those beer shits.
I love beer shits in the morning for I don't know why. They just feel like a natural bowel movement because you've been pumped full of yeast all night because you're drinking your face off.
Exactly.
I don't know why. And you just follow it up with a Big Mac and you're perfectly fine.
Yeah. But see, I've been trying to I try to stay away from, I maybe have 1 or 2 IPAs through the night, but like I've been drinking heavy this shandy it's called the Perp from Cape May, which it tastes like grape soda, but it's a shandy and it's 5%. And it's fucking perfect. It was perfect on the beach. It's perfect out in the sun. So it's a session.
I'm kind of proud of the Americans lately because you want to know why they've actually upped their game and their drinking abilities. And when we would have football tournaments and guys would come up from the States up to us and they're like, they would have 2 or 3 beers and they'd be fucking lit off their ass. And they're like, oh, we're so used to like 3 or 4%. I'm like, fuck, you're drinking Coors. That's probably why. And you're drinking just basically tap water.
Yeah. All that shit's great.
Oh, it's crazy. What is the worst food you have ever ate?
All right. So to be honest with you, I'm not a foodie type guy. I just eat everything and anything basically. But
have you ever did you end up trying the blue cheese with the fig jam?
No, I have not tried that. I have not tried that. And that's actually, I want to make sure I remember that. So I'm not like, so I will eat basically anything, but there's this thing that my mom used to make when we were a kid. It was called rarebit. It was just basically bread and cheese. And it just looked like throw up on a plate. That's about the only thing I ever could not eat. Anything else I can eat, but I couldn't eat it.
Mine was liver when I was a kid. Now it's like, give me liver until I die.
Yeah, I was going to say, a lot of people really like liver.
Yeah, you do. You know, the best way is you do a ground liver and you almost make it into a pate.
That you can spread. Nice.
Yes. My wife does it. She does it with with garlic, with onion and something else. She does a bunch of spices in it. It's just like, just spread it on fucking a piece of toast with some mustard or hot mustard and you're freaking ready to go.
Okay.
So sorry, go ahead.
No, I never thought of that. Spreading like a pate.
Really nice. Put it in a food processor. That's what you do.
Gotcha.
So here's a rapid part, an actual rapid part. I'm going to list off 11 things. You tell me one or the other. You have to tell me which one you would prefer.
Okay.
Eagles or Steelers?
Eagles.
Hart or Hextall?
Hextall.
Drew or Clark?
I wouldn't choose either of them. I'd choose Lindros.
This is a touchy one. Foles or McNabb?
It's Foles, no doubt.
West Coast or spread?
Spread.
Subway or McDonald's? Probably
McDonald's because I'm a piece of shit.
Give me my McNuggets and just shove it down my trough.
Yeah, exactly.
Ice cream or popsicles?
Ice cream.
Cake or pie?
Ooh, I like them both. I'd probably put them both together.
You got a kai or you got a cat?
Exactly.
It almost sounds like a person from Massachusetts. Give me a cat, please.
But yeah, I like them both, so I could either or. It don't matter to me.
There you go. Bell or Colin?
Colin.
Mags or Wolf?
Mags.
And the last one is, what would have been your team name if you did move the Shithawks?
It was just going to be the Philadelphia Ramblers, which is
you sent me the picture, right?
Yeah. It's just an old team from Philadelphia back in the 50s, pre-Flyers era.
Was that something that LHX kind of inspired you with the Renfrew Creamery Kings, knowing that they were an actual NHL team back in 1918?
I did not know that. I did not know that was an actual team from his city.
No. Renfrew's probably from Toronto, probably about 4.5 hours northeast.
How long were they in the league?
A year or two, I think.
Okay.
You can actually search them online. Go Renfrew Creamery Kings.
I did not. So he knew that?
I don't know. He just basically told me he went on Chris Creamer's logos and looked for the ugliest logo possible.
His logo's not bad. I don't think it's ugly.
Well, any team you're looking back in the pre-1930s, they're pretty dog shit fucking logos.
Yeah, I mean, typically it's going to be a letter from the alphabet, right?
Pretty much. But that's kind of where I think about it.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think his logo is ugly, but I did not know that about his team, that it was an actual team.
Yeah, it was. The funny thing is that I'm a wealth of stupid knowledge.
Well, that's hockey knowledge, man. That's depth.
Oh,
So-
well, I used to run a hockey league for a hockey website for a few years, but got out.
There you go.
So I know my statistics, and that's probably why I love stats so much. Favorite movie and TV show?
Favorite movies, Braveheart. Favorite TV show. Ooh, I mean, I could always say Trailer Park Boys, but I'm not gonna say that because there's just so many. Like, man, trying to think of some of the ones that I've just recently watched, and I was like, fucking, favorite TV show. Man, that's fucking tough.
Stick to your roots.
So there used to be a show on Netflix where they would go back to, they followed like these junior college football teams. It was called something U.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about.
I think they did 3 or 4 seasons, and I really fucking enjoyed that.
So
Last Chance U
was
what it was called.
So I got a couple TV shows that you could probably check out if you want to at least watch one episode or two. So one of them's called Red Dwarf. If you like British dark humor,
Okay, that's like sci-fi, right?
kind of sci-fi but comedy in at the same line. The first couple seasons are a little dull, but you have to get it to understand the storyline.
Gotcha.
Check it out. Like I had mentioned, is definitely one. One of them is called Blue Mountain State.
Yes, I've seen that.
Okay, that one's
Seen
pretty
that.
fucking
Yep.
funny. That's a football related one.
Yeah, that's good.
For some reason, I was always a person that loved Breaking Bad. I just love it. I like the storyline was just really well done.
It's a great show. That's a great show. You know what? When you said the one before you said about Breaking Bad, it reminded me of another show that I fucking loved. Was The League. That show.
Oh yeah, The League. 8 seasons. They do fantasy football.
Yeah, fucking hilarious, dude. If people haven't watched that show, oh my god, man.
There's another one that's pretty funny. It's another British one. It's called Peep Show.
Okay, all right, dude. I love British shows. I think British shows are better than American shows. So
Peep Show is basically a first-person video. Everybody's first person. So if I'm talking to you, you're seeing it through my eyes. But then when you're talking to me, I'm seeing it through your eyes.
Okay.
So it's kind of like that, and it's just really fucking stupid. But I don't know. Some of those stupid TV shows just seem to catch on because I just find them good.
Yeah, exactly.
We're dorks and geeks, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, it is what it is, man.
Well,
I just finished that terminal list. It was just pretty fucking violent. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's with Chris Pratt. He's like he's a military guy. It's all about revenge, man. Just revenge.
Well, I'm on my revenge tour this season right now, starting from the last 20 games. Everybody else is on my docket. You have 4 of the dances with me.
Yep.
My punch ticket needs to be filled, and I'm going to fill you full of goals.
Thanks. I appreciate that.
Well, I'm not, and I'm making sure I'm drinking tequila any segment of the way. So something, or basically, if somebody says, "What's wrong with you?" I'm just going to say, "It's not a tumor. Shut the fuck up. Get out of my way. I'm going to score some goals on you."
Oh my god, man! You're so good at that impersonation of Arnold. It's perfect.
Well, put it this way: I'll continue the rest of the podcast with Arnold's voice.
Please do. Please do.
Something you tell yourself when you were back in 1995 that you tell yourself to work on for NHL 95.
We should have been playing manual goalie.
Your manual goaltending sucks. So does Ed.
Yeah.
Hey, Wolfie.
Yeah,
Wolfie, I can pet you. I'm going to hurt you.
You can't keep doing that.
Oh, I can keep doing that. You'll be surprised. Do you have a bucket list trip?
Bucket list trip? I hate thinking of things like that. It's going to be like the end of my life. But there's stuff that I want to do. I mean, I'd like to hit all the Hall of Fames around. I think I just seeing stuff in my own country. There's plenty of stuff I want to go see in my own country, from the Grand Canyon. There's stuff like that. So I don't know if it's bucket list, but there's just a bunch of shit I want to definitely travel and do once my kids are out of school.
Well, the funny thing is that everybody who's ever locally, they never go and see stuff around.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's serious though. I mean, I live in Philadelphia. I've seen everything in Philadelphia, but you know how many people around us have not gone and seen Betsy Ross's house or seen the Liberty Bell or been to the art museum. A lot of people haven't.
Or ran the stairs like Rocky.
Yeah. Well, everybody does that. But
I know what the funny story is. I saw Sylvester Stallone when we were doing the I don't even remember the movie. We did a movie together, and I smacked him, and he told me, he says, "Oh, you know what? You think you're so tough because you're Mr. Olympia? You go run the stairs where I did in Philadelphia. I done did it. I jogged up the hill. So easy. Fucking little Italian man. I smack him around." So funny question, because you talked about dying. 3 days left to live. What do you do?
3 days left to live. What do I do? I probably try to see everybody that I want to see and say goodbye. And let me think. And then I'd probably just spend as much time as possible with the closest people I can. That's
Good
about
answer.
Yeah.
Good answer. When I was governor of California, I just had a lot of sex with people, and it was fun. I wasn't going to die because I'm here now.
You were married. You were probably having sex with Maria Shriver.
Maria Shriver, I told her to be quiet because we were going to have sex with other women. And like, I got my schwanzer, had to come out, and I needed to pump some iron inside of them. And they were very proud of the protein because I take protein every day. So, funny thing is, they called me the Terminator. They called me Arnie. They called me the Schwarzenegger. But what's your nickname?
I think so. There's always, and whenever anybody asks, there's only two that I reference. So when I was a freshman in high school on the football team, the older guys used to call me Berserker because they thought I looked like that WWE wrestler, the Berserker. Excuse me. And then my senior year, I was a little promiscuous, and I ended up spending some time with Maria Benonis, who had the nickname as Maria Benbonin, and I got the nickname Dirty Balls. So that was what was signed in all my yearbooks.
Right. The funny thing is, even though you have dirty balls, you got some action.
Yeah,
but dirty balls. People say you got dirty balls. It's because I've been balls deep in women. They're just jealous. They're just jealous because they can't back.
Yeah, exactly. That's the way I feel.
Me being a big Mr. Olympia, I got power and everything like that. What's your superpower?
Superpower.
Be a little wimpy, a little dweeby, saying that I want to be able to teleport. Give me something good.
Superpower. I'd like to be able to see into the future. Or did somebody say that? Somebody already said that, right? Actually, I'd like to be able to go back in the past if I wanted to change things in the past.
So that's you want to be Marty McFly with the book?
Yeah, exactly.
Become super rich and come up with Moogle.
Yeah, exactly. I know how to solve problems. I already know how.
You go back, you change things, you become the owner of Google, and you call it Moogle from McLean.
Yeah, exactly.
That's good. Make the money. Last thing, I'm going to go back and give it back to Magnus, and he can take over because I'm getting tired of talking like this. I gotta go put myself balls deep into some women. Maria, shut up. I'm going to go over there. No, it's not a tumor. Fuck off. CIA's got me pushing too many pencils these days. Magnus, take over. I got to go get some ladies. Fuck off, Arnie. We've had enough of you. Ideas for the rest of the season moving forward. What would you like to see come into the league?
For our league?
Yeah, for our league. The ideas, because I'm like really throwing around ideas. I think that we've gotten to a point. I know a lot of people say do a couple seasons and let it kind of ride for a bit. I think we're at a point right now where we know the standings is working, the schedule is working, the competition's working, the draft's working, the time frame for the season's working. It's just what other things could I add to elevate it more?
I don't know if it's about adding. I think like it's just tightening it up, like you're saying. Like I think like we saw how when everybody participates in the draft, it moves fast. I thought the draft went great this season. You know what I mean? There's stuff like that we've just improved on. You have just helped improve on and refine so that it doesn't, you've cleaned it all up. so that the draft doesn't take long. I mean, remember how that was one of my number one complaints was how long the draft would take because it was just absurd. And I think we got it done in under a week.
I think we got it done in like 4 days.
Yeah, which is really fast for us with 34 guys, right? So, and 10 new guys who didn't know what they were doing.
Well, the funny thing is about it, a lot of the guys who were new in the league were kind of already on the scene when we were wrapping up the season. So they were kind of already like getting into the swing of things. So I think they were like, okay, this is what I got to do and this is how I have to do it. And I think me starting the expansion draft at the end of the season instead of the playoffs gave those guys enough time to like kind of build up the roster.
Yeah. It all went really smooth. So I don't think it's anything that you have to change. Like I think you've implemented a lot of really good stuff, and I think I don't know if the divisions are a final product, but I think we're really close. I think you're really close with the whole division thing. And I'm not saying I have any suggestion for any changes, but it's pretty damn good is where we're at right now.
I do have a suggestion, but I'm also thinking to myself, I'm like, I messaged Nips and Puss about this, and I was talking to some other people. I think I want to pull back down to 32 teams. It just worked so much better. But at the same time, too, if I stay at 34, the way I'm kind of thinking of it is just having maybe converting the divisions to 5 teams per division instead of 4.
Okay.
That would have been something else, but then that would only leave a couple teams down at the bottom as like one expansion division kind of thing.
Yeah.
But even at that, I'm like, no, it just works really, really well now. And I can't remember who suggested the play-in series, but
it's good. It's good.
Whoever put that in place, it's really good. And now with 34 teams, it's like, okay, how the fuck am I going to do the playoffs for the shitty bill? You have the 2 lowest teams in the league or in their conference play each other as a play-in as well for the shitty bill.
I like that. Yeah, I like that.
So so at least then we're stuck at that. But the hard thing is that I do know that there's some guys that haven't played yet. I'm not fully on board that they're actually going to play.
You're worried that they're not have the ability to play?
No, we're just not going to have the time, or they're going to pussyfoot around or something. I don't know. Eli the Wolf is like a huge question mark or asterisk because we have no idea who he is. He came out of the woodworks and is basically he took over Sammy's team, so basically he inherited like a superstar team.
And he hasn't shown up at all.
And he hasn't shown up, but apparently from the rumblings in the Bronx, he said that he was going to be starting on Sunday, which is tomorrow. So we'll wait and see. Comical Font, he's already kind of like alluded to me, or she has alluded to me, that she's going to be playing at the end of the month.
Yes. Correct.
So that's perfectly fine. I have no deal with that. I was already preemptively aware of it, and it was not something that I was going to like, okay, we're going to wait until the season starts for you. It's just more or less you're aware when the season starts, and I'm aware when you're going to be able to start playing.
Exactly.
Which is perfectly fine, and I love the channel that she's running at right now.
Yeah, I got no problem with any of the new people. I've played Salvo, and I played. I haven't played Hoth yet, right? I played Salvo in an XZ, yeah. Yep.
Okay. Yeah. So I was going to say, in the season, I'm like, where the fuck is the tier 2 playing a tier 4?
No. I just played. He was looking for somebody to play, so I just played him, and I beat him 2-1 in the first game and 5-0 in the second. But he's learning. He's learning. So I'm not worried about him. He's going to be a good player.
The only person I have a question mark about is Aftershock, and it's mostly because of the job that he does and the time that he has. Yeah. So it's kind of hard, but I do have maybe 1 or 2 guys in the wings potentially ready to jump in. One of them's from the 94 side, and me and him have been talking quite a bit. He started messaging in the groups and some of the stuff, Mr. TX.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So he might jump in if I can convince him, and if there's somebody else, then we're always going to seem like we always have one person ready to come back.
Yeah. Well, I think we're going to get to a spot soon where everybody should be settled. You're only looking at a couple, like these newer guys. I think they're in. You know what I mean? I feel like they're in. Caden and Salvo, like
they're not going anywhere. They're not going anywhere. Yeah. Salvo and Caden are not going anywhere. Gamby, I'm loving what Gamby's doing this season. So, Matty A says he's not going anywhere. The only thing I would say that the Matty A's hurdle is that he's a little bit older. He might have to have his warm glass of milk before going to bed.
Oh, Jesus.
But,
Matty.
I don't even call him Matty anymore. I call him Relic when I talk to him. And he actually, they always call him Old Fart.
That's funny. That's funny.
So bringing us to our last segment, it's going to be Ask Magnus or anything that you want to talk about or anything you have on your mind. And the table's basically yours.
Well, so my first question is, I know you've said you want to do this all the way through the seasons, but so what do you see the grand picture of this for you? What do you see like in 5 years, not 5 seasons? In 5 years, where do you think this will be? Because we will have completed all the seasons by that point. So what do you see happening once we say we finish this through? Everybody plays to the 20 till we get to the last roster or whatever. What do you see as happening?
So it just rolls. So if we're at right now 2023 seasons coming rolling out and we're in 99. So if what everybody's asking is having 3 to 4 seasons a year, that if you do that over 5 years, that's 20 seasons. That brings us right to the present date. But then you have to actually add 5 more seasons in there. So another year. From that point, I think I'm just going to roll it to the 1918 season. And you just start
1918?
1918.
Holy shit.
So then we roll it all the way back.
Okay. Then guys will be slow as dirt back then, man. Holy fuck.
That is potentially going to happen.
Yeah.
You're going to have the studs, and you've experienced it. I think everybody who's played in the queue, there is parts of the queue where you're like, I can do a lot more things, but then it also gives people a better chance against some of the top tier guys because of the lower value players.
Oh yeah, but remember there was 2 versions of the queue. The first version of the queue, didn't you start in the 50s?
1950.
Yeah, and that
70,
was even
70.
Or 70. That was even slower than the 80s.
So just imagine what the 1918 is going to be like.
Yeah.
We're playing NHL 94 pretty much.
Yeah, I would just like if you do that, I would just wish you could like edit the goalies to all look like they're wearing like the leather.
Already did it.
You know what I mean?
Already did it.
Oh, sweet.
So there's gonna be an era where there's gonna be no helmets.
Oh, awesome. That's awesome.
So basically all the players' heads are gonna be brown, like because of the hair.
Yep.
So that's I'm working on that right now. There's a lot of pixels to change heads. But yeah, so basically everyone's gonna be helmetless.
Okay. So you see, so do you ever, so I mean, I know how I feel about this, but are you looking to have it be ever expand to 2 leagues or something like that? And if you did expand to 2 leagues, would you feel like you had to play in the second league too?
So the second league, if I were to create one, which I'm on the fence right now because of the limit what we're at 34 teams. So given that the 34 team limit, my other understanding of myself is now that with like honestly, if I ever got to meet him, the guy I'd give him like pour him like 5 shots of whatever he wanted. Thickness, literally, man, like you have been a godsend with this fucking extractor. And like I told this to Halifax basically before, now the thing that takes all my time is creating the box scores, which is basically screenshot and edit the photo.
Yeah.
I can do 900 save states in 6 seconds.
Yeah, so I mean that's amazing.
So all the data just gets plumped in, and it all runs through the Google sheet.
So I'm not. So you're not. What you're saying is it's not that the data part is not what's the difficult part.
No,
so
it's not going to be the difficult part anymore, which is the main thing to have the season running.
Yes, but so now, that just means you're dealing with even more personalities. Does that become tricky?
No, it doesn't, because the big thing is that I would be able to create, like, so if we started another league, which we already did with the queue. Mm-hmm. So the queue is there, and the queue, like, I got to play some games because I'm trailing behind, but
yeah, I was told to tell you to play your damn games.
If puss nips, you can go suck a big fat lump. If it's the fleshy patch between your legs or between your wife's legs, it doesn't matter.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
But if it was LHX, G-Lock, Sutton, whoever else it was, I don't really care, because the thing is that like it is a lot. The W takes priority, but the Q is going to start picking up for me because my season's almost done in the W, and it's only I have no problem running 3 or 4 leagues.
Okay.
So the big thing for me now is that what would a second league look like? And my second league idea is actually starting it with only like 3 people.
Okay.
And the reason why I'm saying only 3 people is that I want to run a true NHL league. So
Gotcha.
basically, you take over a franchise and you run that franchise.
Yep.
But the thing is, you're not running it with trades. You're not. There's no trades. There's no draft. No nothing. You take over the roster that is set for that season.
Yeah. So you're just playing with that team all the way through its history, basically.
Basically, so if a team folds, you have to take over another team.
Yeah. Well, interesting. It's
so
an interesting thought.
that would start from the 1918, and that would give me enough time until the W got to the 1918 stage to be able to get all the kinks out.
Yeah, that's a good idea. That's a good point.
So that one is going to be called NHL 90, and it's just going to be called NHL because it's basically taking over and doing an NHL league.
Okay.
But it's a dynasty franchise, whatever you want to fucking call it, the history of the NHL. Like, that's what we're going to do. That idea is already like, I'm going to roll it out later on this year.
Okay.
It's only going to start with like 3 or 4 people. So
yeah.
Like the true diehard people that want to play.
Yeah, I think I'll be interested to see how that goes. Yeah, you definitely, if you can fill it with people who want to play all the time. So,
that's the thing. It's going to be kind of a cyclical thing, and the seasons are going to go by fast because we're going to be playing the schedule of the NHL.
Okay,
so
that makes it easier too.
So the first 3 seasons, like the first 8 seasons, you play only 2 people all the time. It's almost like playing Xyz all the time.
Yeah.
So, but it's to get the kinks out, see how the ratings are. I have all the player ratings from 1918 all the way up to 2023. So I have no problem having the database for the players available. It's just more or less, how does the gameplay work? How are we going to do everything? Are we going to incorporate line changes? Are we going to have the fighting aspect available? Like, all those components are going to be there. And I do think this is going to be the league where I have no penalties.
Okay. Interesting.
Because since there's going to be, the games are going to be so fast, you have 20, no penalties would be a good way to try it at first.
Interesting. Okay. Very interesting.
So it's an idea. I don't know the name of it. I don't know what the logo is going to be. It's going to be something different. But the ROM is going to look very different because everything's going to be like vintage looking.
Okay.
So
okay. Let me ask you another question then. So let's talking about your team now. So what is the weak spot on your team?
Left defense.
Which is who?
It's Bouchard, who I'm finding out he's not bad. He's just very weak. He takes a lot of penalties, and his awareness is fucking garbage. And he's always the one. He's always the fucking one. And it's been my Achilles heel all season. And I don't blame Vakoun so much on a lot of stuff. I do blame Bouchard because Bouchard's awareness basically bumps him into Vakoun. Even the slightest thing is because of the awareness, pushes himself into Vakoun, and then the player just cuts across. Puss did it to me the other night. Colin did a couple of like around the back, and like Bouchard pinned them. And I would go back afterwards because I record all the videos, and it's always Bouchard.
Interesting. Very interesting. So you don't have to tell me the plan, but do you have a plan to fill that hole already or no?
No, I don't have a plan.
Okay.
I have an idea of what I would like it to be like. I mentioned earlier, I want Lindstrom back. But at the same time, too, is that having at least players that have some skill ability, which is like whether they have agility, whether they got speed, or they got passing ability. One of those traits are eventually going to take over. I have, what's his name? Sabalakowski, who I got Nips. He's okay. He's a little slower, but he tends to not turn over the puck as much. Bouchard's got the speed, but he turns over and takes a lot of penalties. Then I got Zuzin, who's okay. He comes in, he doesn't really do much, but he hasn't let me down yet. So I'm running 3 horses next to Pronger. Pronger's a fucking monster already. He is taking penalties, but he is my my stabilizing force in the back. It's basically like I have Shea Weber back there. So
nice. Yeah,
I got a pillar back there. Then on forwards, like Solani's my rock. Like, he'll never be traded. I know that people are always wondering if he's available. You would have to trade your whole team to get him.
Okay.
It's basically you're basically telling me to say trade your favorite player growing up, trade your favorite player that you used to pretend that you used to be, the player you used to collect all his hockey cards, the ones that you actually have him following you on Twitter.
Yeah, you're not trading.
I'm not trading Solani. He's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Forsberg, on the other hand, I don't know where I need to put him. I'm thinking center. I try him out. He works well. then I am like, okay, if he's at center, that means I have to put Ronnie on the wing because I'm not going to be a liability with no speed on the right. So then I put Ronnie in. Ronnie's actually very good, but the thing is he's weak. He gets beat up a lot. He's very small in size. He's a 5 compared to a Francis who's a 9. And when I put Francis at center, I move Forsberg over to the wing, which is Francis has got a good shot. He's got good awareness, but he's lacking speed and offensive awareness. So I'm missing the component of seasoning, or the players haven't hit their stride yet, or I haven't found the right combination against the team. And I do know that each game that I'm going to be playing against people moving forward, I have to have a different combination because of the gameplay I'm going to have to play. Instead of relying, saying, I'm going to use Forsberg at center and Ronnie's going to be on the wing with Solani, and I'm going to have Bouchard and Pronger against everybody. It's not going to work. I'm going to have to start rolling lines in a way to kind of find out who works better with who against who.
Yeah, I've kind of been doing the same thing with Daze and Secor, just kind of switching them around, seeing where I want to play them and what I want to do with them, with Eisman and Sakic, because of course those two stay on. So it's just trying to figure out who's filling the other spot and when. So yeah, interesting.
So I think that's my problem, and I got a decent backup who's going to be okay for the rest of his career as a backup. So Dwayne Rollison, he's my backup for his career because he plays until 08. But he's always like high 60s, low 70s.
So you need a starter?
No, Vakun's my starter. Vakun
that's right.
Goes up to like a 96.
Yeah. Yeah, he becomes a superstar. So
yeah, and like 3 seasons from now, he's going to be like hitting the mid 80s. And then he goes like 90s for a while. When he was with Nashville, I remember he was like, when he retired or was on the decline, that's when Pekka Rinne came in.
Yep.
And then when Rinne came over, Saros now's come over. So basically they have a wheelhouse that they roll, and it works.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that's good. You have a good plan laid out. Just looking for that one position left.
I'm looking for that one position, and that's the position I try to play when I'm playing defense.
So it's actually the guy you stay on is what it is.
I try to, but sometimes when you're playing some of the elite guys, it's hard to switch to the player that you want to use.
Yes.
So I'd say 70% of the time I'm chasing and I'm changing to the player I don't want to be, and that's where Bouchard becomes the liability.
Gotcha.
So playing Colin last night, he even told me too, he's just like, yeah, your goalie stinks. I'm like, yeah, he's not great, but the thing is though, my manual goaltending ability is not yet there. There's games where I'm playing manual and I'm fucking like, guys have like, I'd be like, I played against Puston and Nips, and both of them said, man, your manual goaltending ability has gotten better. But then I'll play somebody like Colin where I'm like, Colin's not going to do much to me as long as I shadow him and like do this. No, fuck that, man. Like, and the thing is I'm not fast enough to press that B button to switch over to manual.
Yeah. And so that's funny because I can't remember who it was, whether it was Coach Mike or he was trying to push for the dedicated goalie jump button. I can see where that's a benefit now.
There is, I played the SNES 95 one where there is a dedicated button to switch over. The only way I think you can actually have a dedicated button is unless you go over to 6-button controller.
6-button controller, yeah. I'm not saying to do it. I'm just saying I can see the benefit. So when you have that dedicated goalie control, how do you get off the dedicated goalie control?
You would have to go back as if you were changing the player, so it's B or C, whatever.
Okay, so you just hit a normal button. There's a standard button to take select of the goalie then.
Correct. Instead of actually holding down B to change it.
Yeah, which can be frustrating sometimes. Yeah,
it is, especially when you're not used to it, or you're like, I'm in transition, or like what we've talked about I've heard on your podcast and I've heard on mine, and I've heard from people. Everybody's balanced with speed this year, so it's kind of hard to, and it's going to be like that moving forward as well. And it's really hard to kind of like get used to using manual goaltender. You're like, okay, when do I turn it on? When do I turn it off? Or am I getting away from the style of play that I tend to rely on? Like for me, I like shadowing or chasing because then it gives that person enough time to be like, hey, like, okay, I can't really do as much as I want because Magnus is always in my back pocket. But me doing that, I've also opened up spots where people are taking slap shots and getting one-timers in because of my lack of the ineptitude of my defense. So I've dug deep enough into my team knowing where its weaknesses are and their strengths are, and I just haven't figured out how to put it together yet.
Okay.
So
all right. Well, I just would say don't panic because I think you got a lot of talent. So
I've panicked a lot this season already. Like after after Chris beat me twice, he shut me out 5-0 and beat me 3-2.
Ugh.
I just like there's games where I say to myself, I'm like, man, I'm shit. I want to, and I said this to Halifax. I'm not a very, I don't like to confront people or get aggressive. I can, but I mentally shut off, and then I just go in like fucking like Incredible Hulk mode. But I think literally 7 times this season already, which is the first time ever I wanted to throw my controller.
Okay.
And it's
It was
not
that
that
frustrating.
it was that frustrating, and it's not because of the lack of my ability, and it's not taking anything away from my opponents that I played. But when you're in a certain mindset about your team and where your skill level is, and you start losing games that you're like, I don't know how I lost, I don't know why I lost, I know why I couldn't score, but why am I losing?
Mm-hmm.
When you play against somebody and you get on a run. Sorry, Pink. I beat up Pink the other night, and I got on a 4-game win streak. I beat him in all 4 games. I had 3 shutouts. Then I played Nate, and I shut out Nate, and then he beat me 6-3. So that's what I was saying. Going back to like you get in the run of things, and then you fall apart, and then you get in the run of things and fall apart. So I have a hard time keeping consistency. And I think that's also stems down from the way I run the team is that I don't let my team stay together for a while. It's almost like an offensive line. You have to have that consistency to create cohesion.
Yeah, but I think you're close to being able to allow that to happen. So,
well, the thing is, I don't have a problem beating the top tier guys. I don't. I think it's my mindset that I'm normally in. Like I told that to Colin yesterday, and he told me it's just like, man, you're good. You're just in your own head. And then like Sean Bell is the same thing. I can beat Belly, and I said like he's beatable. It's just you have to be in the right mindset to beat him. The Segathon is the same thing. Segathon, if he didn't have the down B and actually played the game, sometimes he would not be as good as he is.
I don't like talking about down B.
I know.
I hate down B.
Like I like doing down C and up C because the slap shot. Even Nate told me that too. He says. Even when you use manual goaltending, the slap
hard to stop.
Still go in.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I just don't. Like I said before, like I said in the podcast with the Pittsburgh boys, when whoever listens to it, he's such a good player. I don't think he needs that. I don't think he needs the down B. But when it's been bred into you, I mean, he's not going to give it up because that's part of his game. So I understand that. But I just hate the shot. I just hate it.
The Halifax asked me this question too. He says, "Is there any play that should be outlawed?" I'm like, technically no, because when you really think about it, we're playing a fucking video game that
exactly
made in 1995. Exactly. There's going to be some goofy shit in the game.
Yeah, dude. I forget when I played Bomb Jack in season 1. He told me that I shouldn't be allowed to do the cross crease. So like everybody's going to have an opinion of what should and shouldn't be allowed. And that's why you can't tell people what shot they can't take. Whatever. If that's what the shot you want to take, I can still have my opinion that I don't like the shot. You know what I mean?
I've embraced the cross crease because the more you watch NHL games now, when you see a player coming up along the boards and he cuts to the center of the ice to the goalie and the defenseman's trying to block him, that's the cross crease.
Yeah.
That's like McDavid's probably the best at it.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, obviously it's a hockey move. I mean, it's just
I would say like the down B is similar to like as if you're taking a wrist shot right before the end of the period and it happens to go in. That's the kind of thing where I'm like, okay, if it's at an end of the period kind of thing, I don't mind. But at the same time too, I realize we're playing a video game from 1995. There's going to be some goofy shit in there. People are going to find ways to break the game.
Yep, exactly.
And if you found that trick to break the game, use it. It's a part of the game. If it wasn't going to be a part of the game, it wouldn't have been there.
Yep, exactly.
So hats off to you, Segathon. But like, I think everybody in the league is able to beat everybody.
Yeah,
like,
Yeah,
and the funny thing is for me is that I was going back and trying to get all the save states from season 1. And season 1, we didn't have the decompressed ROM kind of thing where you can actually get the data extracted from the save states. I actually found the way how you can actually get it is that now with our way that we set up the league where all the save states already has the data, I just have to load the save states from season 1 and rename them.
Okay.
Or like save them again, but now it's saving it the way it's supposed to have been saved. So I was able to pull all the old data. And I was looking at all the old scores from season 1. And some of the games I was just like I remember one game I saw you beat King Raph 10-0.
Yeah, that was the first time I played him.
Yeah, and then there was a game that you beat G-Lock 9-1. And
Yeah.
then there was a game where I saw Puss lost a lot of games in season 1 that I was like, fuck. Halifax won a lot of good games. Leviathan, as much as he's not in the league anymore, he won some actual games.
Yeah, that was the Hot Jets, right?
Yeah, the Hartford Hot Jets.
Yeah.
So there's guys in the league where you were like, okay, where have they evolved to? Like G-Lock is like, sorry, bud, you've been on the bottom feeders for a while, but now you got a team and you're showing off.
Yeah.
So
good for G. G's awesome. I love it. I love it. I love G's success. So.
Oh yeah, his is like that heartwarming story of the league, in my opinion.
Yeah, man. I got no problem with that at all.
So like, I would eventually love to be able to get on like a dark side with Bambi, because he's probably the guy I'm like, he got beat up in which season was it? Season 3 or season 4, where he was in the Division of Death.
Oh yeah, and he just took it. He just took it. And it's just like, fuck, normally something like that would break a guy. And then you give a guy like Matty A, who got fucking lit up. And the guy just kept on playing. He got better. Mucho respect.
Oh, mucho respect. And he's gotten better. And the thing is, now he's got an opportunity to play with better players on his team, as well as in the division or like a tier with players that are more online with his ability. Or at least until he's able to take that next step. So I don't know. The league has become more than just a league. I don't know. It just feels that way. When you talk about like the NHL, you're like, yeah, it's a professional league. Then I talk about our league and I talk to other guys, and I'm just like, it just doesn't feel like a normal league.
It's not. I wouldn't call it a league. I'd call it a community, because it's not just a league. It's not centered around just the hockey on the ice. That's why I say about everything that's else involved. It really is a community that you've created on Discord. I never used Discord in my life, and now it's on my phone and on my computer at work all the time. So,
and that's the funny thing too, is that you talk with guys who are like, it's probably not the best word, but inept with technology.
Yep.
And now you see them that they're the ones who are basically like setting people up, like running like, this is how you do it.
Yeah,
like,
it's crazy.
All the Segathon guys were never on that, and now like, you got Blair, Brandon, Ed, and Nick and Sammy. Well, Sammy was always on the scene, so was Nick. But the other 3 were completely dumbfounded with technology. Now they're like on Discord, they're doing this, they're doing that.
Yeah, exactly.
It's sweet. So,
yeah, it's fun. It's fun, and everything that everybody brings something different, which is even better.
And then that's the thing that I find great about the league, is that there's people that you haven't really heard from them yet, and then you start seeing them start contributing more and more and more and more. There is one guy I would like to see more from, is Colin.
Yeah,
like I know he's probably got a lot going on, but like the Waterloo guys don't seem to be too involved, other than Sean. Like,
wait, so can I ask a question? There was something that was mentioned yesterday on the podcast.
On mine?
Yeah.
Okay.
Does Sean have a yacht?
Colin's got a yacht.
Colin has a yacht, like apparently like a yacht.
Well, he said a 60-foot yacht. I'm like,
who said he's got a 60-foot yacht? Colin said this?
Halifax.
Oh, Halifax said Colin has a 60-foot yacht.
Yeah, he says, I would like us to go spend so I asked him the deserted island question, and Colin's 60-foot yacht. I'm like, Colin's got a 60-foot yacht?
Yeah, that's what I want to know. That's so you need to find out if Colin actually has a yacht, and if he has a yacht, he needs to do it up and invite us all to his yacht.
And play. And we could just all merge our fucking Wi-Fi mobile data like hotspots, so we can play NHL 95 on the boat,
on the yacht out in Wooders.
And then we can do a Step Brothers, like, I'm on a yacht.
Yeah.
Or what is it? What is it? Lonely Island. I'm on a boat.
Okay.
Have you ever seen it? Look for that video. It's pretty fucking funny.
Okay.
Lonely Island. The guy Andy Sandberg.
Oh yeah, I know who that is.
Yeah, but he does a video called I'm on a yacht, or I'm on a
okay. Boat. I'm on a. All right.
There's another one, and it's called a dick in a box. And
yes, I know.
And stuff like that. So I'm on a boat apparently, or something like that.
Okay.
Anything else?
Let me think. So are you gonna be? Do you have any plans to leave the casket selling industry, or is that where you plan to stay? I know you said you're a writer too. So is that where you plan to stay? Are you content with where you're at?
It's a dying industry. I don't know. I've been earning myself some money, so I don't see myself changing jobs unless something like miraculous happens and like somebody's like, "Oh, like, could you want to come and do this?" I'm like, "Oh, I'll cross that bridge when I get there." I'm never like the type of person where I'm saying like I want to have a career. I'm like,
Yeah.
a fucking job. I'm like, I'm here for a good time, not a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the day, you make it what you want. If you're content with what you have,
Yeah.
you're happy with what you have, then why change it? If something happens that changes it, then you move and adjust. But until that happens, like I'm content on what I'm doing. And like everyone starts asking me, Nips asked me that question, says, how long could I do this for? Now knowing that I have the technology stuff kind of sorting out, like I can do this as long as I want. It's even gotten easier now over the last few weeks, but still hard when I lost the Google Sheets. I lost the website and I lost the YouTube channel. So
yeah, but now we know we got other guys that are saving shit, so that's good. That's
and
good.
I actually I have an automatic update now that downloads the file every day.
Oh, that's sweet.
So basically, I don't have to worry about the file itself ever being lost, and it's just more or less. I keep a lot of my stuff offline, anyways. Now I have an SD card plugged into my laptop, and
okay.
I got one thing that a lot of people find is funny. I got my wallet, but I have an SD card business card, and it's basically I slide SD cards into it. I have like 14 SD cards into it, and it has like all my data and stuff like that. It brings with me anywhere. So if I ever had to plug and play, I have everything already set up on it.
That's pretty cool, man. That's a way to be prepared.
Yeah. So I've kind of cleaned up my act a little bit, I would say.
Well, we all appreciate it, man. And this is like I've told you before, man, this is one of the funnest things that I've ever partaken in, and I don't see myself not partaking for a while.
Like I said this to everybody when I talk to them and they mention that. I appreciate it, but at the end of the day, I created something. It doesn't mean it's going to be successful. You guys are the ones that make it successful because of your involvement and your playing and like your love for the game, that which makes it easier for me to do what I do.
True.
So if you have people that are like fucking the dog and doing everything like that, the league would have never been sustained.
No, you're right. It all works together. You got a great mix of guys. You got I just
because you have a threesome doesn't mean you're gonna, just because you have a threesome and there's two girls in you doesn't mean you're going to be involved. You have a great plan that you're going to have this happen, but it doesn't mean you're going to actually get to play.
That's a way to put it.
So if you've played your cards right and you know what's going on, you can have some fun.
Yeah. Yes.
If not, exactly. You're basically a spectator.
I love it. But yeah, man. So I think that's good, man.
All right.
I think we're good.
Okay, good. So everyone, that was the Dark Side 95 podcast with MCline, the Philly Ding Dong. And I'm gonna have to get Arnie back, but I think he's balls deep in some other girl other than.
Let him know I miss him. I'll talk to him soon.
Well, he's giving me a thumbs up and pounding away, so I'll give him a thumbs up right back. Go get him, Arnie. All right.